The massive research vessel drifted silently through the star-speckled darkness, its advanced sensors probing the unknown regions of the Orion Arm. Commander J. Park sat quietly in the observation deck, his dark eyes scanning the holographic displays that flickered with incoming data streams. Suddenly, a faint signal caught his attention. Unlike the typical electromagnetic signatures of known alien civilizations, this transmission carried a unique pattern, fragmented, yet intricate. The computer's translation matrix struggled, its algorithms dancing around something fundamentally different. "This doesn't make sense," Jay muttered, adjusting the communication filters. The signal seemed to pulse with an intelligent rhythm, but not like anything humanity had encountered before. On the external viewscreen, a strange metallic construct gradually materialized. Its design defied conventional spacecraft engineering, organic curves blended with geometric precision, creating a vessel that seemed to breathe rather than simply exist. Multiple appendages extended from its central body, scanning and analyzing the human research ship with calculated precision. The alien vessel made no aggressive movements. Instead, it maintained a respectful distance, sending intermittent communication bursts that challenged every known communication protocol. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the ship's xenolinguistics expert, leaned forward. Her fingers danced across holographic interfaces, attempting to decode the incoming transmission. "Commander, these communication patterns, they're unlike anything in our database. It's as if they're speaking multiple languages simultaneously." Jay nodded, his hand resting near the emergency communication protocols. First contact scenarios were delicate, and one wrong move could trigger an interstellar incident. The alien vessel's external surface began shifting, not mechanically, but almost like living tissue. Sections transformed, revealing intricate patterns that seemed to pulse with an internal energy. It was beautiful and terrifying simultaneously. "They're attempting communication," Elena whispered, her voice a mixture of excitement and apprehension. A crystalline projection emerged from the alien vessel, creating a three-dimensional holographic representation that hovered between the two spacecraft. The image wasn't a traditional communication method but a complex mathematical and biological diagram. What surprised the human crew was the diagram's central focus, a representation of cellular structures that looked remarkably similar to human biological schematics, yet fundamentally different. The alien communication seemed to be asking a question not through words, but through an intricate biological blueprint that suggested a profound curiosity about human physiological composition. Jay understood immediately. This wasn't just a first contact scenario. This was a scientific investigation disguised as a diplomatic encounter. "They want to understand us," he said quietly. "Not our technology, not our culture, but our biological makeup." The ship's medical officer, Dr. Marcus Chen, had been silent until now. "Commander, our genetic structure might be more unique than we ever imagined." The alien vessel's probing continued, its sensors creating intricate scans that penetrated the human ship's hull without causing any physical disruption. It was as if they were studying a rare specimen, carefully and methodically. Minutes stretched into hours. No weapons were drawn. No threats were made. Just an intense, almost scholarly examination of humanity's biological essence. When the alien vessel finally began to withdraw, it left behind a complex data package, a gift of information that would take years to fully comprehend. The transmission contained complex genetic sequences, biological diagrams, and what seemed like an invitation to further scientific discourse. Commander J. Park watched the alien vessel disappear into the starry expanse, knowing that this encounter was just the beginning of something unprecedented. Humanity was about to enter a new era of understanding, not through military might or technological superiority, but through the most fundamental aspect of their existence, their biology. The research vessel's logs would later describe this moment as the first truly peaceful first contact in human exploratory history, a meeting of minds that transcended traditional communication barriers, focusing instead on the pure scientific wonder of biological diversity. As stars continued their silent dance outside, J. Park couldn't help but smile. The universe had just become a lot more interesting. The research laboratory hummed with an electric tension as Dr. Elena Rodriguez carefully examined the genetic samples collected during the alien encounter.
Holographic displays surrounded her, each screen flickering with complex biological sequences that defied traditional scientific understanding.
Something unusual caught her eye. The human white blood cells captured during the initial scan showed remarkable properties that seemed to challenge everything medical science knew about cellular regeneration. Dr. Marcus Chin joined her, his experienced eyes scanning the data.
"These cells," he said slowly, "they're not just healing. They're adapting. Typical human white blood cells would take hours or days to respond to a biological threat. These samples were different. They transformed almost instantly, creating unique protein structures that could neutralize unknown pathogens within minutes." The laboratory team worked tirelessly, running countless tests. Each experiment revealed another layer of complexity in human cellular structure.
Where alien medical systems required extensive technological intervention, human biology seemed to have built-in repair mechanisms that function like intelligent, autonomous systems.
Genetic markers showed something extraordinary. Human DNA contained flexible genetic sequences that could rapidly reconfigure themselves when confronting unknown biological challenges.
It was as if the human body contained an internal adaptive intelligence that could rewrite its own genetic code in real time.
The research team discovered that human cells could rapidly generate custom antibodies, repair damaged tissue at unprecedented speeds, create protective cellular barriers against unknown radiation, modify internal chemical structures to neutralize toxic environments. What seemed like a simple biological anomaly was actually a revolutionary discovery. Human bodies weren't just surviving, they were actively evolving in real time.
Preliminary tests suggested that human blood samples could potentially heal radiation damage, regenerate nerve tissues, and even adapt to extreme environmental conditions that would destroy other biological organisms. The alien research database they had received during the first encounter suddenly made sense. Those advanced beings weren't just studying humans, they were trying to understand a biological mechanism that seemed almost impossible. Commander J. Park reviewed the initial findings, his expression a mixture of excitement and scientific caution. "We're looking at something that could change everything we know about biological adaptation," he told his team.
The medical implications were staggering.
A single human blood sample could potentially revolutionize medical treatment across multiple alien civilizations. Diseases that took years to cure could potentially be resolved in weeks or even days. But with great discovery came complex ethical questions. How would other civilizations react to such a significant biological advantage? Would humans be seen as a threat or a potential medical resource? Dr. Rodriguez continued her meticulous research, understanding that each cellular sequence represented a potential breakthrough. The human body was proving to be far more complex and adaptive than anyone had ever imagined. Laboratory simulations showed human cells responding to stimuli in ways that seemed almost intelligent. They didn't just react, they anticipated. When exposed to potential threats, these cells would prepare defensive structures before the actual damage could occur. One particular experiment demonstrated this extraordinary capability. When exposed to a simulated toxic environment, human cell samples didn't just defend themselves, they began creating protective molecular structures that could potentially neutralize the threat before it could cause damage. The research team worked around the clock, knowing they were on the edge of a potentially world-changing discovery. Each test, each analysis brought them closer to understanding the true potential of human biological adaptation. As night fell and the laboratory's artificial lighting hummed softly, Dr. Chen looked at his colleague and smiled. "We're not just studying cells," he said quietly. "We're uncovering the next stage of biological evolution." The samples continued their silent dance under the microscope, tiny, resilient, and full of untold potential. Humanity's greatest strength might not be its technology or its intelligence, but the incredibly complex and adaptive system that existed within every human body. Outside the laboratory, the universe waited, holding its breath for the next revelation. The deep space conflict erupted without warning. Alien warships from the Krell Confederation suddenly appeared, their massive energy weapons charging against the human exploration fleet. Captain Kara Anderson gripped her command chair, her eyes locked on the tactical displays showing overwhelming enemy numbers. "Incoming plasma bombardment," her tactical officer reported.
shields at 60% capacity. Most species would have surrendered immediately. The human fleet was outnumbered 5-1, with advanced alien technology targeting their vulnerable positions. But something different happened. The human ships didn't just defend. They adapted. As plasma waves crashed against their hulls, something extraordinary occurred. The ship's exterior began to transform. Molecular structures shifted, creating adaptive energy dispersing layers that absorbed and redirected incoming weapon energy. Where other civilizations would have been instantly destroyed, human vessels maintained structural integrity. Kara Anderson's medical team worked frantically. Crew members wounded in the initial attack were showing impossible recovery rates. Radiation exposure that should have been fatal was being neutralized by their enhanced cellular structures. Broken bones realigned, tissue regenerated, and neural pathways reconstructed themselves in minutes. One particular incident caught the attention of the alien observers. Lieutenant Park, critically injured by a direct energy blast, was back at his station within 30 minutes. His body had not just healed, it had adapted, creating new cellular structures that provided enhanced protection against similar future attacks. The battle wasn't just a military engagement. It was a biological demonstration of human resilience. Alien communication channels buzzed with confusion. Their advanced scanning systems couldn't comprehend what they were witnessing. Human ships weren't just surviving, they were evolving in real time, creating defensive mechanisms against attacks they had never encountered before. Kara's voice remained calm. Redirect auxiliary power to adaptive shielding. Pattern recognition protocols active. Each weapon fired by the Krell Confederation was quickly analyzed and countered. The human fleet didn't just respond, they learned. Weapon frequencies were anticipated, energy patterns were predicted, and defensive structures were created before the actual attack could cause significant damage. The ship's medical bay became a laboratory of living adaptation. Wounded crew members weren't just treated, their bodies were actively rewriting their own genetic code to prevent future similar injuries. Radiation damage was immediately neutralized, cellular structures reinforced, and neural pathways rapidly reconstructed. What should have been a total defeat became a demonstration of biological superiority. After 6 hours of continuous battle, the Krell Confederation withdrew. Their most advanced weapons had been rendered ineffective against an enemy that didn't just fight but fundamentally changed during the conflict. Communication intercepts later revealed the alien commander's shock. They had encountered numerous civilizations across the galaxy, but never a species that could adapt so rapidly and completely. "They're not just surviving," one alien commander was recorded saying. "They're rewriting the rules of biological existence." When the human fleet returned to their primary base, medical examinations revealed something even more remarkable. Every crew member showed enhanced physical capabilities. Their bodies had not just healed, they had improved. Strength, reaction times, and cellular resilience had increased dramatically. Commander J. Park, reviewing the battle reports, understood the significance. This wasn't just a military victory. It was proof of humanity's unique biological potential. The universe had underestimated humans. And now, everyone would know. As repair crews worked on the battle-damaged ships, something became clear. The human vessels weren't just machines. They were living, adapting organisms that learned and grew with each challenge. The Krell Confederation's retreat was more than a tactical withdrawal. It was a recognition of a fundamental truth: humans were not just another species in the galaxy. They were something entirely new. The unexpected demonstration had changed everything. The global research facility buzzed with anticipation. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before a panel of international scientists, her hands trembling slightly as she prepared to reveal humanity's most significant biological discovery. "We found something extraordinary," she began, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. Years of research had led to this moment. The genetic samples collected during the alien encounter and the battle data from the Krell Confederation conflict had converged into a single, remarkable revelation.
Human DNA contained what researchers called the adaptive resilience complex, a unique genetic structure that could literally rewrite itself in real time.
Unlike other biological systems that responded to threats, human genetics could predict and prevent potential damage before it occurred.
Dr. Marcus Chen projected holographic images showing cellular transformations that defied previous scientific understanding. Chromosomes didn't just repair themselves, they actively created new protective mechanisms, generating custom protein structures that could neutralize unknown threats within minutes.
The implications were staggering.
A single human blood sample could potentially cure diseases that had plagued multiple alien civilizations for centuries.
Radiation damage, genetic disorders, and environmental adaptations became simple problems to be solved by the human biological system. The research team discovered that human cells possessed a form of intelligent design. They didn't just react, they anticipated. When exposed to potential threats, these cells would prepare defensive structures before actual damage could occur. One experiment demonstrated this extraordinary capability perfectly.
A human cell sample, when exposed to a simulated toxic environment, didn't just defend itself. It began creating protective molecular structures that could neutralize the threat before it could cause any damage. International scientific organizations were stunned.
The Galactic Research Consortium, comprised of multiple alien civilizations, requested immediate access to the research data.
What humans had discovered was more than a medical breakthrough, it was a fundamental reimagining of biological potential.
The adaptive resilience complex worked through multiple mechanisms: rapid genetic reconfiguration,
predictive cellular defense,
instantaneous protein generation, environmental adaptation capabilities. Commander J. Park understood the broader implications. This wasn't just a scientific discovery. It was proof of humanity's unique place in the universal biological landscape. Alien research teams began requesting collaborative studies.
Where previous interactions had been cautious, now there was genuine scientific excitement. Humans weren't just another species to be studied, they were a biological marvel that could potentially revolutionize medical understanding across multiple civilizations. The most surprising revelation came from unexpected sources. The adaptive resilience complex didn't just work on a cellular level. It seemed to function across multiple biological systems, suggesting a deeper, more complex mechanism of genetic intelligence. Dr. Rodriguez's team discovered that human biology contained what they termed predictive genetic memory, the ability to learn and adapt from experiences at a cellular level. Experiences weren't just recorded, they were integrated into the genetic structure, creating increasingly sophisticated defense mechanisms. During one remarkable demonstration, a human cell sample exposed to a previously unknown radiation type quickly developed protective mechanisms. Within hours, it had not just defended itself but created a complete genetic blueprint to prevent future similar damage. The global scientific community watched in awe. What had once been considered impossible was now a documented biological reality. Diplomatic channels buzzed with excitement. Multiple alien civilizations sent research teams, eager to understand this remarkable human capability. The adaptive resilience complex represented more than a medical breakthrough. It was a fundamental reimagining of biological potential. As the research continued, one question remained: what other secrets did human biology hold? The discovery was just the beginning of understanding humanity's true potential. Commander J. Park looked at the research data, a slight smile crossing his face. Humanity had just changed everything humans knew about biological adaptation. The universe would never be the same. The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as the holographic presentation revealed humanity's extraordinary biological capabilities. Representatives from thousands of alien civilizations watched, their collective understanding of life about to be fundamentally transformed. Rin Li, the lead diplomatic representative, stood at the center of the massive circular chamber. Holographic displays surrounded her, showing intricate details of human genetic structures that defied previous scientific understanding. "Humans are not just another species," she announced. "They are a biological marvel that challenges everything we thought we knew about evolutionary potential."
The council members represented civilizations thousands of years older than humanity.
They had explored countless star systems, encountered hundreds of intelligent species, and believed they understood the limits of biological adaptation.
Today, everything changed. Detailed research presentations showed how human biology could regenerate complex organ systems within hours, adapt to extreme environmental conditions instantaneously,
create custom cellular defenses against unknown threats,
predict and neutralize potential biological dangers. Alien scientists who had previously dismissed humans as a primitive species now looked at them with genuine respect. The adaptive resilience complex wasn't just a medical curiosity, it was a fundamental breakthrough in understanding biological potential.
The Galactic Medical Consortium immediately proposed collaborative research programs. Where previous interactions had been cautious diplomatic exchanges, now there was genuine scientific excitement.
Commander J. Park watched the proceedings from a diplomatic observation deck.
He understood that this moment represented more than a scientific discovery.
It was humanity's formal introduction to the galactic community as a significant biological force.
Diplomatic protocols began shifting. Humans were no longer viewed as a young, inexperienced species. They were now recognized as a civilization with unique biological capabilities that could potentially revolutionize medical understanding across multiple star systems.
Multiple alien civilizations began requesting detailed genetic research collaborations. Medical technologies that had remained unchanged for thousands of years could now be reimagined using human biological models.
The most surprising development came from unexpected sources.
The adaptive resilience complex wasn't just a medical curiosity. It represented a fundamental reimagining of biological intelligence and potential. During the council proceedings, holographic displays showed remarkable examples of human biological adaptation.
Cellular structures that could predict and neutralize threats, genetic memories that could learn and evolve, and biological systems that function more like intelligent networks than traditional biological mechanisms. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, representing the human research team, presented the final presentation.
Her calm demeanor and precise scientific explanations impressed even the most skeptical council members.
"We are not just survivors," she explained. "We are a living example of biological potential."
The Galactic Council's final resolution was unprecedented.
Humans would be granted special scientific status, with open research collaborations and diplomatic privileges that had never been offered to a species so young.
Alien representatives who had previously considered humans a potential threat now saw them as a valuable scientific resource. The adaptive resilience complex represented more than a medical breakthrough, it was a new understanding of life itself. Commander J. Park understood the broader implications. Humanity had just changed its position in the galactic community. No longer would they be seen as newcomers or potential threats.
They were now recognized as a unique and valuable civilization. As the council proceedings concluded, a holographic display showed a simple human cell transforming, adapting, learning, a perfect metaphor for humanity's journey into the galactic community.
The universe would never be the same. One alien representative summarized it perfectly: humans are not just a species.
They are a living demonstration of biological potential.
Humanity had arrived. And the galaxy would never forget this moment.